So speaking of the machine, you were around during the Death Row era. You were close with Suge and all the biggest artists in hip hop at the time. It kind of rose from the concrete there. And I think one thing about Death Row that I remember was the sentiment that the only way you can get off, like you was going to live and die at Death Row.
Now, a lot of people did that.
But now you see Kendrick is leaving TDE. Like, how does that happen?
Top Dawg runs his label like a family. So they'll still be a family. They'll still do business. Everybody that he signed to grow them. Mm-hmm. And part of them growing is them leaving the nest one day. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? TDE gonna always be TDE no matter what else is talked about. But I think Kendrick's just ready to step out there and experience being his own boss. But I can guarantee you this, he got a great mentor. Mm-hmm. He'll be on the phone with Top. Mm-hmm. Top gonna pick the phone up, advise him, and direct him, guide him. You know what I mean? And if need be, they'll definitely come back together if that's what needs to happen. But he doesn't run that intimidation type business over there. It's more of a family orientated thing. The security, you know, everybody's been there 10, 15 years or more. You know what I mean? They brothers, you know what I mean? So it's like, and he got a very mixed crowd. You got Crips, you got Bloods, as far as his artists. You've never heard any.
But you do too, though.
Yeah, you never heard any of his artists beefing or going through nothing crazy and not being supported.
So when you were married to him during the whole era of Death Row, did you ever just get afraid? Like, were you ever afraid during that time period? Because like when Death Row was on its rise, I mean, like, I don't even know how to explain that situation, that environment.
I wasn't afraid because you got to understand that I've been knowing him since we were 9 years old. And the phases of life that he went through, it was worse before Death Row. Like, the street stuff was worse than when that whole Death Row thing was going on. So it didn't scare me.
But you were like the muscle. You were. I mean, that's what.
You know, I was one of the guys that I was close to him. I was in the car with him. He would talk to me.
They said you had one hand on the foot of Vanilla Ice when he was about to take flight.
Man, they lying. Allegedly.
Allegedly. Ice baby.
But you know, it's funny now because I look up and I still talk to a lot of the people like Reggie Wright. You know, I see his son, you know, making this move and doing what he's doing. And it's kind of scary because he looked just like him, you know, it's different, it's weird. But he's just a more subtle, you know, well-mannered guy. But I always think about the things he did so I know what not to do. And the things he did so I know what to do.
Business-wise?
Yeah, business-wise, because you know, it was pros and cons to everything he did and didn't do. So,
like, what are some examples? Because I did see the post you said the other day. You posted Game and you talked about how no matter what, like, you're gonna always be in his corner. And I feel like one thing that you've done, not just like, we'll get to Krishan and how you've been dealing with the Blueface stuff, but like you've been like a father figure, a friend, the manager, the security, the homie, like it's sort of like a full situation.
You know, I don't think about it or see it until somebody like you say it. Because she'll tell you, I just do what I feel I'm supposed to do. Yeah, 1 minute you're right, I can be management and then label and then homie, then brother, then security. Then she didn't watch me deal with all kind of crazy. She didn't been in the middle of it. She had to come bail me out. I mean, crazy things, you know what I mean? So the stitches thing, you know, something told me to happen because she never stays at the room. I'm like,
were you there? You were there that night?
No,
I wasn't there. I was at the hotel.
I told her to stay at the hotel. She looked at me crazy, but she knows my little intuition works for me, you know. But they called her, and you know, we're a great team, even when I'm in jail. You know, she kind of knows he's gonna be working something in there. I had to pay the little guard to call her because we didn't know how to do bail in Florida. It made it work, but Suge did a lot of great things, but he made a lot of mistakes. You know what I mean? The best thing he did is turn 30 cents, meaning that if it was a group of 3 people, they really got 30 cents per record sale. That cut that up to 30%. You know what I mean? He kicked those doors in, and there's certain things you can't take away from the man. I don't like a lot of things. I don't like his character when it comes to, he just can't be a real brother with you. No matter what, he's gonna find a way to water down what you're doing successful if you're doing it without him.
Why do you think the whole theory that he had Tupac killed still lives on?
I don't know who, I mean, listen, man. We from the streets. If something like that's happening, we don't put ourselves in the car unless it's coming from the back seat. You know what I mean? Suge 300 pounds, right? He not gonna put himself in the car. He could have put anybody in the car with him. He could have put guys in the cars that would have really did that. But that was his little brother. Not only that, that was his business. That was, you know what I mean? Like that was a blow.
That was a superstar to that.
Yeah, that was a blow. I mean, you know, people start, you know, these damn conspiracy theory people, they start talking. You know, some people tell you Tupac's still alive.
So Death Row. So I thought Ray J was running Death Row, but now they say Snoop running Death Row.
No.
What? I'm confused.
Well, it was at one time because we had the contracts to do the. Ray J was doing a Death Row movie. It's like 5 or 6 people that have had these rights to do the movie. Somebody else has them now. I don't really remember what it is. Snoop Dogg actually has brought the label Death Row. It's different. He brought the label.
So he owns it.
He owns Death Row. He owns Death Row and the catalog that's left of it. It's not the complete Death Row catalog of what it was as of maybe a year ago, but the part that he would want that's important to him, which is the Snoop Dogg masters, the Dog Pound masters, things like that, Snoop owns it. The label, the name Death Row, the company as a whole is his, which is a great accolade, I believe, for him. You know, Snoop Dogg came back to him. He started there, he left, he came back. Now he owns, and he owns his masters. So
It's big. It's big for his story.
all he has to do now is break an artist. You know, my advice to Snoop is sign a bunch of these little dudes, but Bobby Shmurda, he's not happy over there at Epic. You know, Sylvia Rome and Snoop, I'm pretty sure have a great relationship. I think you should go have a conversation with Sylvia. You know, work that out and bring Bobby Shmurda to Death Row. I think that's enough shock value. I think that's what my move would be if I was him.
So when you look at the image of Death Row, do you think it needs to change? Do you think it could be rebirth, reborn? Do you think because I kind of when you think of Death Row, you think of all the Suge was doing back in the '90s. I mean, it was wild.
I mean, listen. I mean, Snoop was in the middle of a lot of it, bought murder cases, so on and so forth. But you understand, we talking about the Snoop Dogg that's been on Martha Stewart. We talking about the Snoop Dogg that held the #1 spot on the gospel charts for 16 weeks.
Yeah.
We talking about Snoop Dogg, not the rapper, but the icon.
Yeah.
He's the most noticeable rapper in the world, right?
Just performed at the Super Bowl.
Yeah, so I think, you know, by him being the face of Death Row, because he was never the face of Death Row. He was one of the many faces of Death Row. Suge was ultimately the face. By him now being the face of Death Row, I think the image has already changed.